Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the bunker. I want to welcome any newcomers that are they're just finding the show, as well as the dedicated listeners that have been with us for a while now. It's been kind of hectic around the bunker. I live in New Jersey. I've been on the housing market for a few months, and it's been interesting. It's been interesting. I'll just put it that way. It's been a little hectic, to say the least. Quite a journey. Hopefully, this coming to a close shortly, but we'll see what happens. The whole crew, we were also out of town for an entire weekend, helping out at the Penhurst Paracon, the third annual. Well, can we say third annual? I'm not sure, because of COVID. There was no Paracon for a couple of years, but this year, 2023, was our third tour, actually assisting Bob and Gina with ghostly excursions, helping them out as they volunteer themselves and us to assist the Penhurst crew, who was freaking awesome, by the way, and really had that place run pretty tight. And there was I just want to give a quick shout out. There was a medical issue with one of our friends that was pretty serious, and I have to say that the response time of the Penhurst crew was top notch. Responded quicker than I could have possibly imagined they would have, and dispatched EMTs to the scene who required an ambulance, and they were on top of their game, and they brought they showed up when they requested it. They were there immediately, took care of the situation, and everything is good to go, as far as I understand at this point. So big shout out to Matt and his crew at Penhurst. Like I said, this was our third tour. This was much earlier in the year than previous years. I believe it was July. It was 2019 anyway. Was brutal. The heat was unbelievable. This was much milder weather, which was great. But we essentially were there during the day. We were basically just helping out the ghost hunters, the Adam and Amy from Kindred Spirits. Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. The Destination Fear crew, Jack Osborne. There was a whole bunch of sort of paranormal celebs there. The Mountain Monster crew, who were wild, by the way. And so we were essentially just there to help the celebs out during the day, and then at night we were assisting with investigations, and we were just sort of setting up in different buildings, just running little mini investigations, and the public was basically at that point coming through, and for the most part wandering and just exploring. But some of them stopped and investigated with us for a little bit, which was pretty cool. So we were out of town for that. It was a good time. Big shout out to Penhurst crew and to Ghostly Excursions, Vortex Ghost Gear, and all the vendors that came out. It was really awesome. There were some friends of ours there tattooing. There were loads of t-shirts and crystals, and every vendor you could possibly imagine was there. There was even food being served and everything. So it was cool. But what I'm going to do tonight actually is something a little different, and I'm just throwing it at the wall to see if it sticks. If you guys are excited about this, if you're not excited about it, if you have any feedback, positive or negative, on this episode, please let me know. You can send me an email at mailtothebunker@gmail.com. That's, once again, mailtothebunker@gmail.com. And just let me know what you think of this episode, positive or negative. I really want to be responsive to the fans and the ones that reach out and drop me messages. I want to address them and acknowledge them. So yeah. So whatever feelings you have about this episode, please let me know, and I will answer all messages that are sent to me. But what basically we're going to do tonight is I found an audio clip taken from a quick investigation that Beth and myself went on, sort of just the two of us, in Medford, New Jersey. We just walked from her old apartment. She no longer lives there, but we walked from her old apartment with a couple of pieces of equipment in our hand, just a few recorders and a couple of EMF meters and stuff like that, and took a walk out to the Baptist cemetery that is in Medford, and just took a walk around. It was maybe 9 or 10 p.m., I believe, roughly was the time. Should actually have time-stamped that recording at the beginning, so we'll figure out what time it is when I start the recording. But essentially what I'm going to do is just run through this. I'm going to start playing this recording, and we're just going to review it together as if I'm sort of, in the same way that I would be reviewing this evidence, were it just from any other investigation. And I have already reviewed this audio. This is from quite a while ago. This is from October 23rd, I believe, 2020. Or no, I'm sorry, 2021. And this is just the two of us doing what we do, and that's when we have extra time, we just walk around in the dark in a cemetery. I know it sounds weird, but we always have equipment with us, and it's just one of those things where we just get an opportunity to spend a couple of hours outside or at a location in the dark, just the two of us, and do a little mini investigation. So what we're going to do tonight is just review this audio clip that I have here, and I'm going to basically just be sort of stopping it at key points. If I find something of interest to point out, if there are some context that I can provide, or if I think I hear something, I'm going to stop it. We'll go back, we'll re-listen to it, and then we'll sort of amplify that audio clip if needs be, and we'll just go through it and just kind of demonstrate exactly, with the listeners, just sort of how I go through a piece of audio and sort of what that looks and sounds like. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start this audio clip. Here we go.
There's spirits in there. Oops, through the window.
9:57
Spirits in there, I can feel
p.m. October 23rd at the Methodist Cemetery, Medford. Thought I just heard a whisper.
Okay, just to sort of address that real quick. I did not pick up a voice there, although I did hear one. That's a common occurrence that happens while you're reviewing recording EVPs. This will happen. You'll catch voices that you don't hear, and you'll also not catch voices that you did hear. Not sure why that happens, but that's definitely what took place here. So here we go.
Is anybody here with us? Did you live here? Do you know the history of 41 North Main Street? Look at these. Why are they so little?
Stokes.
Oh, they're so little. Looks like they keep the grass cut. Nice upkeep. There, they have to be original like this.
Looks to be, yeah.
So right here we're commenting on the gravestones and how we came across these really, really tiny ones, which probably were children, which is sort of morbid to think about, but it's typically what you find in these old cemeteries where there's these tiny little gravestones. They're normally children. And we're commenting on how well it's maintained and so forth. So, some of these old cemeteries we go to are pretty much abandoned. Some of them are completely abandoned in some cases, and there's not mowing. There's trees growing up through graves. There's, the stones are knocked down. It's very overgrown and not taken care of. This one is very well maintained, and which is nice to see, because we do come across vandalism sometimes, which is kind of messed up. But anyway, here we go.
Babe, I can't see it.
Whoa.
Oh wow, look at this. What is it?
Beneath.
I almost thought this said paranormal. Sorry, I don't mean any disrespect. Wow.
Yeah, I can't read it.
Yeah, wow. Maybe it's a 7 or 8. I can't, it doesn't, see? It's like a weird.
1838.
5?
5 or 8, I can't tell.
Oh, okay, 5.
It's old.
Yeah. This one.
That's old.
Yeah. You should start taking pictures at night time. I don't. Yeah, there's like nothing. Look, like nothing. Unless it's on the other side.
Could be on the other side.
People having fires and everything. Wow, there is, but yeah. Oh my God, you can't even.
That side's really rough.
Like you can see cutouts. You know what I mean? Like, see, there's something. Oh my God, this hat. Wow. You know what I mean? You can see like indentations, but not.
Yeah.
Wow. Hello, my name is Beth. This is Michael.
Hi.
Just visiting for the day. I was trying to see if I could preview, but this thing messed up.
I'm not sure the flashlight.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Oh, yeah.
What is it in?
In memory of patients can't read the last name.
Sorry.
Woolhire?
Woolhire? What's that first name?
Patients. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Who disputed this? Disputed this law?
Departed. Who departed?
10 years of age. Oh, wait. 10 died. Oh, no. Died 60 years, 10 months. Oh, and that one says in Harriet. Old patients? Hey, can you see that date? 1876?
This is on. What the fuck?
It says what, babe?
This is turned on in my bag.
I know, it's weird. I'm telling you.
Can I see that light?
Yep. Sure.
Yeah, so I just thought it was odd that you can hear me like shuffling around, like opening up my pockets and pulling out different pieces of equipment, but for some reason, after getting the equipment out of the car, I had earlier made sure the batteries were good and everything. It wasn't on when it was put in my pocket, but as I went to pull it out of my pocket, it was switched on. So, not necessarily anything paranormal, I just thought it was odd at the time.
I just heard a voice again.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm pretty sure I heard that as well just now. Let's go back. Yeah. There's some voices. It sounds somewhat distant, and to my knowledge, at one point there was one guy that was across the street that took place after this. He was putting some stuff in his truck or something, or taking something out of his truck across the street, and you can hear him in the recording pretty clearly. At this point, I don't recall hearing anyone around. I wonder if those are frogs. And this is October? Interesting.
I just heard a voice again.
One thing to keep our eyes out for is to see if we hear the sounds of frogs being picked up again. So if we do hear frogs again, then that would be an automatic throw out that one, because it sounds too much like a little bullfrog or something, even though if there weren't any around, it's kind of what it sounds like to me. So if we hear that pop up again, for sure we'll throw that out. For sure. There's a car going by.
Interesting.
Yeah, constant.
Oh, that's just the smog.
2.5.
Ooh, the smog makes it look really scary. Like, really.
It's cool. There's a light on up there.
I know, I don't know. See, I'm sure one of the, I guess some of the or Baptist, where they ministers. They probably live there because there's cars. You know what I mean? Sometimes they live on the... Probably like a... Probably lives there. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, you think anybody... Oh, maybe they live in this part?
They probably live in there.
Huh. Did that just go on?
It wasn't going when we got here.
No, it wasn't. Let's see if I can...
Like a constant 2 to a 2.5.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, so I'm taking, I have the EDI meter out at this point, and I'm taking readings, and I'm finding that there's a consistently higher ambient EMF level around this area, and it was like going from a 2 to a 3, and, yeah, and I couldn't, like, the readings were at about waist to chest level relative to myself. They weren't, if I brought it to the ground, they dissipated. And if I brought the meter up in the air above my head, it dissipated. So that to me ruled out, power lines, which were nearby. But I later on approached the power lines, and I wasn't getting any readings from the power lines themselves, nor was I getting any readings from the ground. Because I thought perhaps there could be some underground lines, like beneath the cemetery, maybe some lines deep underground giving off some EMF, but there wasn't anything low or high. It just seemed to be at sort of like waist to chest level. So about from 3 to 6 feet off the ground, roughly, which I thought was odd. But yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I follow these readings further.
Who's here with us?
Temperature's dropping too.
Is there anything you want to say? Can we get a message to your family member? This was like, I don't know, almost looks like 17 something. But you said it was originated, it said 18, right?
That's what it said on the sign.
It almost looks like a 17 there. I don't want to, maybe would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have it right on too much. $1863, age 27. That's what people are complaining. Right? Oh, that's 1907. Looks like. It's so hard to even believe okay, 1900s is 100 years ago because we were born in 1900.
Yes, we're very old. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Thank you for your service. That's different. See how all it goes around?
Yeah. Civil War vet.
$1861. Mary. It'll be interesting. What was that name? The tombstone in front of my house. Where
Yeah, it was night, wasn't it?
This was like this is 1808, looks like. See it?
Born 1808, died 1890. Wow. 1872.
That's back here. This is old back here.
Yeah, so we're just basically doing what we do here and just moving about through the cemetery trying to find the oldest gravestone in the area. And and just walk around, and if Beth feels anything weird or I feel anything weird, we just start asking questions and taking pictures. But yeah, this is the kind of thing we do.
These are so cool, like I think one of these was for sale. I think it was that one. 1902, died July 1902. Maybe they're newer. Here's
2.6. 2.8, 2.9, 3.
Is anybody here with us?
So that's me essentially just calling out milligauss readings on the EDI meter, and you can see that it's spiking up and down, and I'm again just holding it basically at arm's length out straight, basically about 5 feet or so off the ground, and receiving these readings, which were odd, and they seem to be traveling actually as well, because I would lose the spike, and then I would kind of move forward a little bit, and then I'd pick back up again, and it seemed to be in a concentrated little area, and it seemed to be moving around the cemetery, which was kind of strange. And so I'm just basically taking you through this whole clip here and reviewing this with you as if I would be reviewing this for the first time looking for EVPs. So we'll continue and we'll see if we catch anything.
That house right there. Look at the drop plank. It's right there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Great night. I think so.
That voice just there, I'm pretty sure it was Beth.
Like 3.5 right now.
Oh, really?
But it's like right in front of me. Look like that drops. Look like this. It drops. Cool. 3.0, 3.5.
Okay. Okay, so to provide a little context, I hadn't been saying anything for a couple of minutes because I was walking around with the meter and I was trying to localize or figure out where this EMF signature was coming from. And I couldn't find it, and it keeps moving. And you can hear me comment on this signal that seems to be moving. And then it seems that we have caught an EVP. Because that voice, you may have heard that just then, sounded like the voice of a child. It definitely was not Beth. And it 100% was not me. So let's go back a little bit here, and we'll replay this. Here we go.
Look like that drops. Look like this. It drops. Cool. 3.0, 3.5.
Let me just isolate this for a second. I believe it's right about here.
Cool. 3.0, 3.5.
Okay, so about here to there. Okay, that's clearly a voice that sounds close. It sounds close enough to the microphone that one of us should be responding to it. You should hear us responding to this voice. That's pretty loud and clear on my recorder, and I'm listening in real time at this point. I don't hear this at all, and neither does Beth. But what I am experiencing is this strange EMF spike that seems to be traveling across the cemetery. So I'll play this a couple more times. This is a great clip. I believe it sounds to me like the trail end of it sounds like she's saying 1860. 1860. I'm not sure what's being said. It's very hard to pick out exactly what's being said, but to me the trail end of it sounds like 1860, which is interesting because we're walking around looking at the dates on the tombstones as we're following this EMF spike as we capture this. Just interesting. Let's think her last words are 1860. It's a female, possibly a child. Wow. And this is just this isn't a full-blown investigation in some site, Penhurst or Rolling Hills. This is just, we're taking a walk in a neighborhood cemetery, and this is what we got. Wow, that's pretty cool. Let's let it roll.
3.0, 3.5. 3.5.
And again, you can clearly hear, and I gave it a second there, you can clearly hear that we don't actually respond to this voice that just came out of nowhere. All right, so that's pretty cool. Let's continue. And I'd like to reiterate that my purpose for going through this whole clip, although at times it might be boring, not for the investigators in our audience, for sure, because you do this on a regular basis. But I want to show, not on a tremendously long clip, because I have clips that are hours and hours long, which I'm not going to do that to you. But I wanted to play an entire clip in context so that you could see sort of how I move through a clip, how I listen to it. Do I detect anything? Do I go back and listen? And again, I extend this invitation to any listeners out there. If you hear something that I didn't react to, either in this recording or on this recording of the recording, sorry, it's a little confusing. If you hear something I don't, please reach out to me, let me know, and let me know where it is and what you think you heard, and just send that to mailtothebunker@gmail.com. So here we go. Let's continue.
3.3. Here, it just dropped. Oh, there it is.
Hello?
It's just right in front of me. Like it's...
Okay, yeah. So here, once again, you can hear me. I lost that EMF signature for a while, then I just picked it back up again, and it's right in front of me, and we just picked up this voice, which at the time we didn't hear. You'll notice, which is interesting. This is how these things unfold sometimes. So here we go. So now I've picked up this EMF signature again, and let's see where it goes from here.
What's your name?
Look where I just was. Nothing.
Oh, it's weird. Whoa, what the? Hi. Do you like these houses so close to you?
8.4.
And it sounds to me at this point, just having investigated with her so many times, it sounds like to me Beth really is directly sensing something now, because she sounds like she's talking to someone that she can see standing in front of her. You can sense her different. I'm not sure how to describe it, but you can just her personality sort of shifts, and she gets like more serious here real quick. It's interesting. Let's see where it goes from here.
Medfordians will be like, what are you doing? Okay. You can find it, you can send me find. 1807? No. Look, they're right on the property. Look at that big one. Oh my God.
Yeah, I wouldn't shine a flashlight in their windows. Oh, no, it's gone. It was whatever it was staying right in front of me.
Maybe caught something on here too. Yeah, these houses are too close to even have a flashlight on.
Yeah, whatever it was gone.
Interesting.
It was staying right in front of me, like straight this way.
Yeah.
But now it's going that way.
Did we go that way?
It's not something on the ground.
Right.
Because it dropped something like that.
Right. Huh. Hello?
It's like, oh, a constant 3. That's crazy. If I go that way, it drops.
So
If I go that way, it drops.
Should we walk this way then?
No, this is the way I just came.
Oh. Well,
It's like there's a line of EMF, like in this row right here. I don't understand why. It's not like there's no power lines here. I kept going down like this, thinking it was
right.
something on the ground, which there should be because there are graves here. But still, it would, if you go like that, it drops.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's like straight ahead like that.
Okay, so there's like a loud car going by there, but also, I mean, perhaps I found a ley line in Medford, New Jersey. I mean, that's what it was. Just a strange energy signature that I haven't run into before. I've had spikes out of the blue come and go, you know, with the device pointed in certain directions or in certain areas. If I'm walking around with an EMF meter, you'll get spikes on those devices sometimes, and you won't always know what, like, you won't always be able to trace any sort of discernible shape or direction of movement normally. But in this case, it was very strange. Like, I was able to just follow this thing around. I would walk up into a spot holding this thing, you know, basically like chest level in front of me, and I would get a spike. And I would watch the spike slowly drift off and go downward back to zero. And I would say, oh, that's interesting. And so I'd move it around, up and down, around me. Nothing. I would step forward like 3 steps. Boom. There's a 3.0, 3.5. And then it would slowly dissipate. And then I would, again, move it around, up and down, get nothing, move ahead 3 steps, 2 steps, and I pick it up again. And this continued across the cemetery. And what's interesting is, at the time, we didn't realize we even caught a voice. And so, was this perhaps a spirit of a child, a consciousness of a child out there walking around that we just happened to cross paths with? We're not seeing anything, and we certainly didn't hear a voice, but it was captured on a device. But I was getting this consistent, hovering, localized EMF spike that was moving across the ground at approximately chest level. And I don't think I've ever come across that before or since. And so it's just kind of interesting. What that is, I'm not sure, but, lo and behold, on evidence review, we find a voice that's there that we didn't hear at the time. Pretty cool. So here, let's continue.
Can you tell us your name?
That was me whispering. Sorry. That's an occasion where I absolutely should have called that out and said that was me. Sorry. But it got past me and I didn't mention it. It's always important while you're recording, especially if you're doing an EVP session specifically, to not whisper. Because for whatever reason, the vast majority of EVPs are caught in a breathy, sort of whispering voice. I don't know why that is, but that's just how they come across. So that one got by me, but I'm telling you, that was me whispering that my pants were falling down. Here we go.
Temperature's dropping. What the fuck is that? And I just, out of the corner of my eyes, I was turning this way. I saw a light go like...
Oh, wow.
From my left to right.
Interesting.
If you can hear me touch this little box I have in my hand. The one in my left hand.
Do you want us to come back over there?
Oh, it's dropping. So it was just right here.
Yeah.
There it is, boom. 3.2.
What is that, eh?
Uh-huh.
Hello? Do you like these houses being so close to you?
Temperature drop.
Is there something you want to tell us?
So I'm here calling out temperature drops, but that's just because I'm calling out what the meter is doing. That's not in any way to imply that's something paranormal, although it could be. It could also just be the temperature naturally dropping because we're outside at night and it's getting cooler and cooler as the night progresses. That's probably what it is. But again, I'm just calling it out because that's what I'm seeing on the meter as I'm holding it. Just in case that comes into play later. You never know. Like in this case, for example, the voice that we picked up, we didn't hear at the time. And so you never know what evidence you're capturing without knowing you're capturing it, if that makes sense. And so anytime you get a hit on a meter, or if you get a certain feeling, or if you capture something in a photo, you call it out because you want that to be recorded and documented in real time, so that if that sort of falls in line or corroborates with another piece of evidence that you don't even know you have yet, then you have a better case for proving that there's some sort of activity going on. So again, I'm calling out these temperature drops, but that's probably not paranormal. That's probably just the evening getting cooler, as since the sun has recently just gone down. And the EMF spike, on the other hand, is strange. It's very strange.
It's weird because I wasn't sure where this was and we ended up at it's close.
There are portions of this recording that you could use as like an ASMR, sort of sleep aid, because all you're hearing is just, besides us moving and talking, occasionally you're just hearing like cicadas and crickets and anyway, sorry.
It's really weird.
That is weird.
It's still constant right there. It's right in front of you. Is there an unmarked grave here?
I wonder. I mean, anything's possible.
If there's an unmarked grave here, what's the name of the person that's in there? If you tell us the name, maybe we can help you get a marker put here. It's right here.
Yeah.
Right in front of you.
And look, but see, if you look at this face, it's big. You know what I mean? Compared to.
It's wild.
If you tell us the name, we can help get a marker or a tombstone for her, for him. I hear Andrea. Okay.
So weird.
Are any of those two names correct?
Kind of interesting that Beth is picking up on a female name, considering that we picked up a female voice, which we're still, at this point, we aren't aware of because we haven't heard the recording yet. I didn't pick up on this until, what we call post or whatever, after reviewing the evidence. At this time, we still didn't realize we had picked up a voice yet. It's so interesting.
Now it's flat. 0.
Okay. So, is that correct that there is somebody here that we need to get a marker or tombstone for?
Unfortunately, this is very near the road.
Really strange.
Very strange.
It's been a while since I saw a free-floating EMF signal like that.
Yeah.
I thought sure it was like something in the ground. Like, 'cause
Well,
it kept
yeah.
going down like that, and it was dropping to nothing.
Right, it was dropping to nothing.
Which
So,
is how it should be, because there's
yeah.
graves. There shouldn't be cables going
but
on.
the area is a little clear there, so the place is
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still at this point just talking out loud, just trying to make sense of what this thing could be, because that is, up to that point was the longest, most interesting interaction with an EMF signature that I've ever had, and it has not happened to me since. So that isn't something that, it's happened to me once. I've had spikes, like I said earlier, pop up here and there. You always do, and you'll find natural causes for most of them. You're going to have poorly grounded wires. You're going to be having those bleed into a room, and that can be in older homes. Sometimes it can be catastrophic. The amount of EMF through unshielded wiring in a house can wreak havoc on people. It can drive you crazy. And so I've had spikes, and I've dealt with normal sort of readings on an EMF meter, and that would be either having a strange spike pop up every once in a while, which could be natural, could be nothing, could be something strange, and I've had high EMF levels in a house just because of poor wiring, and that is the one and only time I've ever had a free-floating EMF signature that I could actually follow. It seemed to be leading me somewhere, actually, because it would wait for me, and I would walk up and find it, and it would move ahead of me. Then I'd lose it again. Then I'd move up again and find it. It was strange. It was definitely strange. It's not happened to me since. So I'm still to this day, it's a head scratcher. Not sure. But it is interesting that we also did catch a voice around the same time.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Oh, these fell down. That's a shame.
What's that?
These fell completely down. That's a shame.
They're really old.
Yeah.
So is that one?
Yeah, that one looks older.
What is the phone number? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you can't really... Sarah? Talk off of that. Sorry. Look at that. 3 point... Is that your name, Sarah?
3.3.
You can... Yeah. That thing is like... I'm sorry your stone got knocked over. I think it just fell because it's very old.
3.8. 3.9.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can hear the device go off there as it got a pretty substantial spike. If it went up to a 3.9, that's, again, it's just popping up. Where a second before that, it was at 0, and, shortly after that, it goes back to 0. So it's just strange.
That too was like It wasn't. It was like here.
Yeah.
I went past it and it goes down.
Can we help you? Just call if I can get somebody over there.
Another temperature drop. Someone you'd like for us to pass a message along to? That's weird.
Oh, hold up a second. Hold up. Okay. Hang on. Hold your horses. Let me just see some.
That's weird.
Okay. All right, so I was just commenting right there that, oh man, you know, that about this EMF spike that I was following and how it was weird. So now it sounds like there was a response after this that it was definitely not Beth and it's not me. Sounds like he's agreeing with me. I'll play it a couple more times.
That's weird.
Okay, I'm going to play it 2 more times and then I'm going to tell you what I think it says.
That's weird. That's weird.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. You may not hear this. Again, let me know. Mailtothebunker, gmail.com. But I thought okay, so I say, man, that was weird. Again, commenting on this EMF thing I was following. And then immediately afterwards, it sounds like someone says, you got that right. But with like an accent almost. Maybe a southern accent?
That's weird.
Got that right. You got that right. Oh, man. This is craziness. All right, let's continue.
That's weird.
There's somebody out there. You don't like it.
Oh, listen to that. Okay, so immediately, and again, we don't hear this voice. Neither one of us heard or reacted to that voice. But immediately afterwards, what does Beth say? Yeah, there's someone out there. I don't like it.
There's somebody out there. You don't like it.
Wow.
Maybe we don't get up. He's looking at us. There's a guy out there.
So there's a 4.0 spike.
Above it, not on the ground.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Oh, that sounded weird. Hold on a second.
Rest in peace.
That's weird.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm hearing something in here, and I don't think this is Beth. That sounds really weird. That does not sound like Beth. And it sounds odd, like it's moving away from me or something.
It's like,
Again, we didn't hear that.
it's actually high all over the place. That's really cool. Look at that.
That was Beth.
Braddock.
Oh, wow. Daughter of William and Mary Braddock departed this life September 7th, 1863 at 20 years, 1 month. Wow. I never knew that. Huh.
That's cool.
All right. Yeah, I never knew that, and then Braddock's is right there.
Yeah. I'm sure it's the same family.
Yeah, look at this. Our...
A little pet.
Oh.
That's cool.
Like he made me or something. It's open. It's open. These are all these little ones. I never knew that. Right. I mean, he's open, right?
Yeah.
Feet are wet.
That was Beth. So.
What's in Holocaust?
10:30. End session.
Okay, there you have it. So there's the end of the clip. And we're looking at, I was thinking about that ratio that I mentioned earlier about, the recorded audio versus the time it takes to review it. And it's pretty much dead on. That recording was 33 minutes and 31 seconds long. And right now on this episode, we are at just over an hour and 4 minutes. So there you go. That's just something I run into and I see a lot. It's just that someone told me early on that, if you have a half-hour recording, it's going to take you an hour to go through it. If you have an hour recording, it's going to take you 2 hours to go through it. And that pretty much holds true for most of the time. Unless you have a long clip, if you have for example, a static recorder somewhere where there aren't any investigators and there's just no sound for a really long time, that would be a clip where you just keep playing it and playing it and playing it. And although you would never fast forward, you're not going to have many stoppages. So you're going to have, for dead time on a recording, that's going to go be basically 1 for 1. But anytime there's anything anomalous, you're going to have to stop, go back, replay it, listen to it again. Think about, okay, wait, where are all the investigators right now? Okay, who's in this room? Oh, it's me and so-and-so and so-and-so. Okay. Right? And you have to break down and you have to really remember. That's why I always tended to review my audio as quickly as possible from the time of the investigation. I mean, I wouldn't, if ideal situation, the very following day, but I wouldn't want to let an entire day pass without diving into the audio first, because I want to jump into that recording as fresh as possible while all those events are fresh in my mind. This was a cool experiment for me because this was going back a couple of years to an old recording that I've already reviewed years ago but didn't really remember all the details. And it was cool to go back into the archives, pull out this recording, and go through with it with you guys and gals, because it just brought back memories for me. But it's also a cool refresher. Like, jumping back into an old recording was neat because I don't remember everything that took place in it. So that was cool for me. And I wanted to show you guys just basically what it's like to go through a piece of audio, like an extended clip, and really just play the whole thing through and stop if we catch something, just like you do during evidence review, just to give you an idea of what it's like. Again, any comments about the episode, anything you heard I did not hear, please feel free to reach out, let me know, and it would be my pleasure to go through that. And again, you can reach me at mailtothebunker@gmail.com. want to take this time once again to thank everyone for coming down into the depths of the bunker to talk about more paranormal weird stuff. Again, welcome to all our new listeners and all the listeners that have been around for a while. Thank you for sticking around. If you're thinking of starting your own podcast, I would suggest going to Spotify for podcasters and check it out. It's super easy to use, and you can distribute your podcast to many, many different platforms, but also Spotify. I ask you to stay weird, stay aware, question everything, and we'll see you next time.